Hi there, this is Jacqueline with Women in Need of Empowerment. Ladies, thank you for joining me in this space. We are in the vineyard today and we're going to be talking about the word burnout. I know you already know where I'm going with this because we can relate to it. We can relate to being burned out. Burnout is simply a feeling of emotional and mental exhaustion. In a nutshell, that's what it is. It will and can disrupt our lives if we let it. Burnout goes back as far as the prophet Elijah, and that's kind of the example that we're going to be using today. We're going to talk about what Elijah did. We're going to talk about what happened when he faced burnout, and then how did he get over. And so the prophet Elijah can be found in First Kings, and I'm going to say you can pitch a tent at First Kings 18 and then gradually move forward as the story continues. Elijah was fearless and focused. And we can relate to that, ladies, because we too can be fearless and focused. When we have a work to do, be it something that we're doing for the Lord, ministry wise, or if it's something that we're doing in our home, or if it's on our jobs, it doesn't matter. We have a way of committing to the work and getting it done. We're mothers, we're daughters, we're women. And God created something down on the inside of us, I firmly believe, that causes us to just simply get the job done. And so we can relate to burnout because a lot of times we just keep going, and we don't stop until we become mentally and emotionally exhausted. But I want to encourage us all today that we want to begin to put a pin in moments where we begin to feel aggravated and annoyed by something. It may be an indicator that we need to stop and slow down. And so it was with the prophet Elijah. And I'm not saying he necessarily need to stop and slow down, but he obviously entered into a space of being burned out emotionally and mentally, and it caused him to look at things differently. And this happened as he's just going about his business, doing a work for the Lord, doing a good thing. And along comes some obstacle. And in this particular text, the obstacle is Jezebel. And she sends out a death threat to the prophet Elijah. He goes from being up on the mountaintop to down in the valley in a matter of nanoseconds. Because this obstacle, this was the thing that literally broke the camel's back, as they say. It caused him to enter into a space where he just couldn't even think rationally anymore. He was starting to sink. He was exhausted. He had been doing so much, and he entered into this state of weariness. And we can all relate to that because when we're in a state of weariness, it causes us to be very vulnerable. We become very sensitive to every little thing because we are worn. Now, there's a quote that I found very, very intriguing when looking into this topic of being burned out. It reads, "Where the mind goes, the body follows. And where your thoughts go, your life follows." That's pretty profound because we'll start speaking and thinking in a negative way when we reach that point of burnout because we're tired. Elijah went from experiencing major victory against false gods and pushing along and doing the things that brought God great glory. And he got himself to a place where one thing caused him to want to give up. He was burned out, so much so that he even asked God to just go ahead and take him. He was ready to go be with his ancestors because Jezebel gave him a threat, a death threat. And so he entered into this space of, I'm having such a bad day. And have you been there sometimes where you really feel that, oh, this is the end of my rope. I'm having a bad day. Now, there's an inspirational speaker, and his name is Les Brown, and he says this. He says, it's not a bad day. It's not called a bad day. Let's call it a character building day. But I want you to know that when Elijah was in this moment, when he got that death threat from Jezebel, he was not feeling like he was having a character building day at all. And neither are we when we're going through what life has a tendency to throw at us. Those obstacles and those interruptions in life. It doesn't feel like it's a character building day. But God is looking at it as a character building day because he's going to use it for his glory. We start to enter into a state of self-pity like Elijah did. And he began to say things, like, everyone is against me. Have you ever felt that way? It's in the text. Everyone is against me. No one is for me. And we sometimes will say, nobody likes me. I have no friends. And we enter into this state of self-pity because we are emotionally and we are completely exhausted from life and from just doing. Now, it all appears true. When you're in that moment, this feels true. It feels real. And so it did for Elijah. He was burned out. I mean, how many times have we been in a situation where we have fought well and we've trusted God and we've kept the faith, and then all of a sudden, bam, an interruption in life. And suddenly no one understands me, everybody hates me, and I'm all alone. Because in this moment, our vision has become compromised. And we begin, like Elijah, to focus in on fear. And he began to focus on his fears instead of the victories that he had just come out of. Now, of course, God steps in and he takes our brother Elijah and he tells him, I'm giving you these new orders. And basically one thing that he tells him that's so simple, but we overlook it so many times. He tells him to rest. You need to rest. God created the body to actually heal itself in many ways if we would just slow down. A lot of times when I am on the brink of burnout, I will begin to say to myself, suck it up and kick it in another gear. That's not always the wisest thing to do. We have to do as God instructed Elijah to do. He provided a place of rest for him. He provided food for him. Listen, if Jesus himself had to steal away to a place of quiet, if he was found asleep in the boat, I mean, he was the example of what it means to refresh our souls. And so we need to also model that. He was the perfect example. And so we have to model that in our own lives. The way to being productively fired up and to make sure that we are ready for the day is by putting on Christ every day. Now, are we going to face obstacles? We are going to encounter some obstacles in life. However, if we have taken care of this one body that we have, this one mind that we have, this one soul that we have, then I believe that we will be able to operate in a much more effective manner. And we will not reach constant burnout. It would not become a cycle for us. We're going to get weary and tired, but we should not be living in a cycle of constant burnout. Burnout is a beast. And the only way we're going to conquer it is by resting, entirely resting, and allowing the body to do what it does best, rejuvenate itself. So, sister girl, slow down, ground yourself, be gentle with yourself, and rest. This is Jacqueline with Women in Need of Empowerment, and we are educating, equipping, and empowering you in the direction of the promise. Remember, live in purpose, on purpose, and don't apologize for it. Bye-bye.